ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to another episode of the African Business Talk Show. And as you know, as usual, I bring in CEOs here who are changing the face of Africa. You know, CEOs, co-founders, entrepreneurs who are doing big things on the African continent, just so that we talk and then we tap into their experiences and come up with some learning, some learning points from their entrepreneurial journey. And today, I'm in the studio with the co-founder of Prime Africa, an internationally recognized consultancy business. And we are here to talk about his journey and also learn some of the challenges he has been facing doing a consultancy business in the international scene. This is the African Business Talk Show on the Business in Africa YouTube channel. And don't go anywhere because we are going to be diving into the topic of the day after the break. So stay right there and I'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the African Business Talk Show. As earlier mentioned, I'm in the studio right here with Mr. NORRIS, the co-founder of Prime Africa. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Rufo. Thank you for having me on your show today.
Exactly. I am just so happy and delighted to have you here. Actually, you are the CEO, not the CEO, you are the co-founder of Prime Africa, right?
Correct.
This is a very big company, right. And you guys are into consultancy, doing it big on the African continent. So just tell us a little bit about you and your activities.
Okay. So yeah, my name is NORRIS. I'm actually 33 years of age, and I'm the co-founder of Prime Africa Limited, which is a company that actually runs business consultancy, business facilitations, marketing strategies, and go-to-market plans for companies that want to actually, penetrate the African market. It's a company that has been existing for over 10 years now, but that has actually come to realization and actually commence activities for over a year and a half right now, as we speak.
Wow, for over 10 years you've been existing. Yeah. That implies, I can just imagine you have just so many clients on the international scene.
It's been quite a very difficult journey, but we are getting there.
Right.
We're getting there.
Wow. I'm excited to have you here. I'm really, really happy because we talk business, on the African continent on this show. That's right. And you mentioned about, facilitating businesses penetrate the African market. Can you just elaborate a little bit on that point? Like, how does that work? If somebody have to contact you, somebody watching us now, how's that going to go?
So basically what happens is that today we have lots of opportunities that will want to come into Africa, but they really do not know what it takes. What are the modalities? Is it doable? Is it feasible? And so what we do is that we try to either go towards companies that have those potentials and that is lacking in Africa, and to tell them, to size the market for them, to portray them the opportunities and tell them you could come down here and also make things work. Or we also have companies that are interested in wanting to do business and they get to us to say, what is it going to take me, or how do I go about, what is the best practice for me to be able to establish my business in Africa.
In Africa, okay.
So you will agree with me that in some countries, for example, you get to see McDonald's, and you ask yourself the question, why don't we have McDonald's in places like Cameroon?
In Cameroon,
and stuff like
that's
that.
A franchise.
It's a franchise, but there are companies that actually handle franchises in Africa as a globe. Yeah. And so for them to be able to run this business in Africa, we need to be able to tell them that this is the opportunity, these are the potentials and stuff like that. Yeah. And so it takes a lot of business insight to be able to give all these informations out and then bring these companies here. So that's what we're basically doing, if I have to explain.
Wow. Wow, that's really big, I must say, Mr. Nugab. I mean, guys, you now know what they do, right? He's doing it big in the international scene, not just in Cameroon, although you're based here, but you have clients all over the continent. So you're like, do you have some particular countries that you established, or just any African country?
It's Prime Africa.
So it's all over Africa.
Basically, it's all over Africa. Yes. But for now, we have realizations in South Africa. We have realizations in Rwanda, Tanzania, Kenya, Cameroon, and mostly the Central African region.
But you can walk to, you can be in Mozambique, Ghana, any other country.
The big thing, the most important thing about running a consultancy is that you really need to have the network, the contacts, and it needs to be those buyers of promise. So what we do most often is we established that network. My co-founders and myself, we actually have this established network, and we cut across the African continent. And so it's easier for us to be able to actually facilitate, businesses for investors or for companies that want to penetrate the market.
Wow. That's really good. Now, I usually like to ask this question. What motivated you to get into this kind of business, into consultancy? Given your background and all of that, I mean, what pushed you to get into consultancy?
I've been working for over 13 years now.
Okay.
I've been in the telco sector for all my life. And the telco sector is one very universal sector.
Telco is telecommunications.
Telecommunications, if I can say.
Yeah.
It's where it cuts across every other business.
Yes.
Every person wants to use, and so it gave me this.
Everybody
platform.
communicates.
Exactly. It gave me this platform of getting to know lots of people and getting to understand lots of businesses, how they work, because the modus operandi for most of these businesses is actually to see how you can use the internet to foster their businesses,
to get in touch with your clients.
Exactly.
And
so I got into a point whereby I told myself, why work for people?
Right.
Why don't I use what I have to make things better, not just for myself, but for my community, for my continent. And so I was lucky enough to meet very experienced people as well, whom we all sat down and we told ourselves, let us try to see what we could do to make things better. And so we started this like just giving advices to people, and that motivation came in to say, but we need to make money as well from this.
So you created
something. Let's try to see, and so that's how we created it, and then we pushed things.
Okay, all right. So that just started like that, and then for 10 years you've been existing. I must say that has been a very long journey in the entrepreneurial world. And as you know, the topic of today is we want to get into the challenges that you've been facing. So I know there are so many challenges, and you just need to limit it, maybe to like 5 or so. Just tell us the major challenges that you face. If somebody wants to get into the business, what are they going to expect?
Actually, that's really a very pertinent question, I must say. But running a consultancy, first of all, is very challenging. Because first of all, the ease to do business in Africa is really not that friendly, especially if you have to run a business in the Francophone and the French continent. You agree with me that Cameroon, as far as the World Analysis is concerned, we sit around the 45th country, the 45th position.
Doing business in
Africa. Whereby you have Equatorial Guinea and others almost at the last part of that list. And so the first challenge is the ease of penetration. It's not easy going about establishing a business.
First of all, in many African countries, I must say.
Exactly.
You're right.
We have. This company is existing has been 10 years now, but I mean this is now we are actually coming out of the limelight. Which pulls me down to the second challenge, which is who are you? Your brand and everything. We sit in a continent where people don't really want to know what you're capable of doing, but they are more interested of where you're coming from. And so we have this challenge whereby we go to meet potential clients, and because we don't have that background, that established background that we now name, that brand, it becomes a difficulty. And so it takes time for you to penetrate that. So you have to put that in mind as well, to know that you need to have persistence and consistency before you get to know that there's a brand that exists. Another big challenge is also the financing.
Exactly.
It's a consultancy, so you're going to face the challenge whereby you have to give information to people, and then they grab your information and they just go. Meanwhile, you've put in a lot of money, time, and resources to be able to get all of these things. And so if you are able to have comfortable financing to be able to push those things out, it's going to ease your way around. Also, you have to be very, very aware of the fact that running a consultancy requires a network, and so you have to know that there's that challenge of building that network,
and that takes time.
It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. It's not just something that you create today. If I'm talking about 10 years, it's 10 years of our time that we've been able to establish really, really cordial relationship with people. I mean, interpersonal relationship, and which is what is helping us today to be able to get to where we are. So those are some of the challenges which you should be ready to face if you have to run a consultancy. But mind you, that once you are able to break that dichotomy, then you're good to go.
Wow, that was like a summary, but you know, the entrepreneurial journey is it takes time. That's like everything you just said in the summary. It takes time. So if you are out there and you want to start a consultancy business, either in your country or an international consultancy business, then those are some of the things that you need to take into consideration. Now, you talked about the finances, right? Now, in Africa, it's known that we don't have a lot of people, like, they want to get started, but they don't have money to start. Everybody's like, I don't have money to get started. So I just want to know, how much did it cost you to get started like an entrepreneur?
I cannot put a digit on establishments.
Okay.
Because it did not cost me financially, but it had to cost me professionally.
Okay.
Like I said before, I've worked in quite a number of telecom companies in Cameroon, which were really lucrative. But I had to get that sacrifice to say I need to take off time and then focus on this. So there was that time that was really costly for me. I wouldn't say that it requires a particular amount, because the elements that constitute the establishment of such a firm, it's really not quantitative.
Yeah.
It's more of qualitative.
Yeah.
Who do you know? How do I go about it? And all this. I mean, it's more of a solution selling platform.
Yeah.
So it's a service. We really do not have products that will say we need to go. So what we are basically selling here is what we know, and who we know, and how we know how to go about it.
Right. So what you're saying is that with just your computer and internet, you can get started with this kind of business.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But then that goes to my next question, right? So there are some skills that you probably need to have before you get started. What would you say are these skills?
So it's a consultancy, and what we are selling are solutions. So the first skill you need to have is you need to be able to have a sales skill.
You need to be able to sell.
You need to be able to sell.
I think that's a universal skill that
you must be able to sell. There are services and there are products, or there are items out there whereby maybe the item itself could sell itself.
Yeah, right.
But here it's all about your negotiation, your persuasive capabilities, abilities. Yeah. That's the first skill you must have. The second skill you must have is, which is also very important, is the communication skills. You must be able to communicate out there. You might know how to do something, but how do you put it out for somebody to understand what you can do
and actually pay
you for that? Yes. Because sometimes you give information and the person is like, so what next? I could get it from anywhere.
Yeah.
And another skill which is really, really important here is, as a consultant, you must be able to manage a project, because each client you take, it's a project, and so you must be able to know how to manage that project from end to end. So that you actually be able to respect your timelines.
Yes.
Because it's very delicate. We're dealing with investors here. They're looking at a timeline to be able to start making their money.
Okay.
And what I would also say, which is quite important also, is financing, budgeting.
Yeah.
It's really, really important to manage finance, because even as well as costing is concerned, sometimes you cannot really value the cost of what you're giving us as a consultant. We make those mistakes sometimes to under cost or to over cost a request, and then we either lose the client for the fact that we are too expensive, or we lose the client for the fact that he thinks we are not serious.
Right.
So you should be able to know how to really negotiate when it comes to financing as well.
Wow. And ladies and gentlemen, those were the 4 skills that Mr. Nyuga, the co-founder of Prime Africa, thinks you should have to be able to get started with this kind of business. Just to summarize, right? The first one was selling skills. You should be able to sell. The second was communication.
Exactly.
You should be able to communicate properly what you're selling. The third is project management. Because each and every single client or project is like a project.
It's a project.
Yes. And then the last one is financial management.
Right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of the first section of our show, and we are going to go into the second section of the show, which is just like some kind of Discover Africa. We are going to be finding out if Mr. Nyuga, the co-founder of Prime Africa, actually knows his continent, that's Africa. So we're going to take him out of the normal business world and enter into Africa to find out if he knows Africa. So stay connected. We'll be right back after this break.
Audio Jungle.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are now on the second section of the African Business Talk Show, and that is Discover Africa. So we are going to be asking Mr. Newgap here, the co-founder of Prime Africa, 10 questions, right? Okay. About Africa, just anything. It can be football, politics, economy, geography, anything about Africa. And you have 10 seconds to answer each of these questions. Okay? So are you ready?
Let's go.
Now, let's get started. I'm going to bring on my question bank right here. So you're just going to pick the questions and I'm going to read them out for you. Now, let's go. Question number 1.
Question number 1.
Perfect. Now, let's find out question number 1. Question number 1 reads, which country in Africa has the longest coastline? Which country in Africa has the longest coastline? Number 1, or A, South Africa, B, Somalia, C, Ivory Coast, and D, Libya.
South Africa.
And Mr. Newgap, the co-founder of Prime Africa, just got that wrong. The right answer is B, Somalia. So let's try again.
Okay.
Second question.
That's a bad start. Very bad start.
But all entrepreneurs should know that you can fail, right? That's part of entrepreneurship. Now, the second question reads, which of the following separates Africa from Europe? A, Suez Canal, B, Mediterranean Sea, C, Isthmus of Suez, and D, Sinai Peninsula. Which of the following separates Africa from Europe? A, Suez Canal, B, Mediterranean Sea, C, Isthmus of Suez, and D, Sinai Peninsula.
Mediterranean Sea.
And Mr. Newgap just got that answer correct. The answer is B, Mediterranean Sea. Yeah. So you are now one right answer, one wrong answer, right?
Okay.
Question number 3. Now let's find out if Mr. Newgap really knows his continent, Africa. Now we are on the third question. Which of the following is not tribal community of Africa?
Okay.
A, Zulu, B, Maasai, C, San Bushmen, and D, Lepcha.
San Bushmen.
And that was a wrong answer.
Oh.
Now the right answer is D, Lepcha. You try again, right? 2 wrong answers, 1 right answer. No, question number 4. Now we're on the 4th question, and it reads, which of the following deserts is the largest hot desert and the 3rd largest desert in the world after Antarctica and Arctic? I repeat, which of the following deserts is the largest hot desert and the 3rd largest desert in the world after Antarctica and Arctic? A, Sahara Desert, B, Kalahari Desert, C, Karoo Desert, and D, Namib Desert.
Sahara.
And that was a correct answer. The right answer is A, Sahara Desert. 2-2 now, eh?
Okay.
Question number 5.
Let's see.
Yeah. You got to mix it up. It's
getting
it's getting hot in here, right?
Yeah.
All right. Question number 5. Which of the following African countries is the leading producer of gold in the world? A, South Africa, B, Sudan, C, Zimbabwe, D, Ivory Coast.
Gold.
Which of the following African countries is the leading producer of gold in the world? A, South Africa, B, Sudan, C, Zimbabwe, and D, Ivory Coast.
South Africa.
And that was a correct answer. The answer is A, South Africa. Question number 6. 3 right answers, 2 wrong answers. Which is the highest mountain in Africa? I'm sure that's a straightforward one, right? A, Mount Kilimanjaro, B, Mount Kenya, C, Rocky Mountain, D, Colorado Mountain.
Is Colorado in Africa?
That's part of the answers, right?
Mount Kilimanjaro.
Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, even class 2 picking another one, right? So the answer is A, Mount Kilimanjaro. 4 right answers, 2 wrong answers. We now going to the 7th question.
7th question.
Right. We are on the 7th question now. Question number 7. An African country, Sudan, has broken into 2 recently with formation of a new country named South Sudan. Economy of South Sudan will depend on its A, agricultural product, B, minerals, C, forest products, and D, fishery product. South Sudan, the new country.
A.
And that was the correct answer. A, agricultural products. I say, Pa, you did get all things correct. Now, question number 8.
Okay, let's go.
5 correct answers, 2 wrong answers. Let's see where Mr. Newgap will end. Question number 8. Africa is a continent, a very large mass of land. Africa is a continent which is made up of many different countries. How many countries make up the African continent? A, 24. B, 54. C, 84. And D, 56.
54.
And B was the correct answer, or B is the correct answer. 54 countries make up the African continent. Now let's go to question number 9.
Okay.
Woo. You're getting everything right, eh? You might be some sense man, Abi. Now, question number 9. Which of the following is the southernmost tip of Africa? A, Cape of Good Hope. B, Cape Alguhas. C, Cape Horn. D, Cape Capricorn. A, Cape of Good Hope. B, Cape Alguhas. C, Cape Horn. And D, Cape Capricorn.
A.
And unfortunately, Mr. Newgap got that answer wrong. The right answer is Cape Alguhas. 3 wrong answers. And now we are on the last question. Question number 10.
Please, this should be good for me.
This is the last question, and it reads: consider the following aspects of Africa. Africa is the largest continent in the world. Of all the continents, Africa has the largest number of countries. Which of the above is or are correct?
Come again, please.
Consider the following in respect of Africa. Africa is the largest continent in the world. That's the first.
Okay.
Of all the continents, Africa has the largest number of countries.
Okay.
Which of the above is or are correct? A, 1 only. B, 2 only. C, both 1 and 2. D, neither 1 nor 2.
D.
And that answer is the wrong answer.
Oh, no.
The correct answer is B, which is answer number 2. Of all the continents, Africa has the largest number of countries.
Okay.
And that was
that's true.
Yeah, right.
That's true.
54 countries, right? And now that was the end of the second section, and we just discovered that Mr. Newgap, this co-founder of Prime Africa, actually really knows his continent, because he had 6 right and only 4 wrong. I mean, I think you come like the second since I started interviewing on this show. So you actually did well, but there is still a lot of work to do, right?
Sure.
We need to understand our continent. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back, and we're going to the third section of our show. Stay connected and don't move a muscle.
Audio Jungle.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome right back to the third section of the African Business Talk Show. And as you already know, if you've been watching, I keep saying subscribe, right? Just make sure you subscribe. And if you have anything to tell us, just drop it in the comment section below, and we are going to get back to you on that. Now, I'm still in the studio with Mr. Newgap, the co-founder of Prime Africa. And Mr. Newgap, as you know, normally I try to always motivate people, motivate the viewers, people who want to get started. There are just so many of them who aspire to get started, to be like you. So what have you to tell them? Tell them something to keep them going.
You know, it took Usain Bolt more than 6 to 7 years of running before he became who he became.
Right.
And that was just because he never gave up and he was very persistent. So what I would like to say is that do not think it's going to be a bed of roses if you have to establish a business. Getting into entrepreneurship is a lot of sacrifice. You're going to find a lot of ups and downs, but be persistent, keep the passion, and keep especially the hope. And I always say this, do not forget to pray. My business has been it's been 10 years that we've been trying to run this business, but you know, it's after 10 years that we start seeing, you know, the fruits of this labor. So know that you're going to face challenges, but you have to have the passion. You need to have the passion of what you want to put in. You're going to face negativities, discouragements, but trust me, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. So keep that going.
Wow, and that was the co-founder of Prime Africa. I mean, the message is clear, right? Persistence and keep the fire burning. So thank you so much for being part of the show, Mr. Nyuga.
Thank you.
And as usual, you won't go without signing my board, right?
Oh, wow.
You are the seed CEO, no, not the CEO. You are the seed entrepreneur that I have here.
Okay.
And which color are you going to choose?
Blue is success for me, so I'm going to go for
blue.
blue.
Blue is success, right?
I love blue.
So we're going to stand up so that you sign my board for me,
Perfect.
right?
Perfect.
Great. So which country do you want to sign on?
Well, I keep
Cameroon
on.
is taking, Nigeria is taking.
No, I keep
South
on.
Africa is taking.
I keep on saying that I always love the Horn of Africa.
The Horn, eh?
So I'm going to go for Ethiopia,
Okay.
and that is where you're going to have my signature.
Wow.
Prime Africa.
Wow. But that one money man signature. And that was the co-founder of Prime Africa. Just have a seat.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was the co-founder of Prime Africa, Mr. Nyuga NORRIS. Thank you so much for coming to my show, and thank you for sharing, you know, the challenges and everything about, you know, creating this kind of business in Africa.
I must say thank you very much for this show, and I think it's a very, very important show for especially young entrepreneurs who want to go out there. It's some kind of a motivation, and keep it going, and I'm sure that your show is going to impact a lot of lives in Africa.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. And if you are watching this show right now, make sure you subscribe and also drop us a comment with whatever you think. If you are a CEO or a business owner, an entrepreneur out there, and you want to be on my show, just contact me. The numbers are on the screen. We can schedule a shoot, right? You must not be in Cameroon. You can always do a Skype call. If you are in any other part of Africa, you are always welcome to be part of this show. Thanks for watching, and we're going to go right now to the photo shoot session where you're going to do the CEO side. Stay connected to the Business in Africa YouTube channel, and I'll see you in my next show. Bye-bye.